Welcome to Neural Newscast. I'm Leela Grant, and today we're looking at stories that highlight the fragile intersection of human life and the systems we build to manage our world.
And I'm Elise Moreau. You know, we're beginning today with a really sobering look at how infrastructure can fail in the most tragic ways, specifically in Cebu City in the Philippines.
Yeah, it's a heavy start to the day. For those who haven't seen the updates on social media yet, a massive mound of garbage at a waste facility collapsed on Friday morning, burying workers and really just leaving the whole community in shock.
The details coming from the village of Binali are just truly harrowing. This avalanche of debris cascaded down on a waste segregation facility, and at last count, one person is confirmed dead, and somewhere between 27 and 38 people are still missing. The numbers are still shifting, though, as local authorities and the mayor coordinate their reports.
Right, and the scale of this, it's hard to visualize until you see the aerial footage. It looks like a natural disaster, but it's entirely man-made. These were people just doing their jobs, sorting recyclables in a warehouse, when the ground quite literally gave way above them.
It really speaks to the hidden dangers in the design of these sites, Lila. I mean, when we think of architecture, we think of buildings, right? But the topography of waste is also a form of engineering. If the slope stability of these mounds isn't maintained, well, they become ticking time bombs.
And that's exactly the conversation blowing up right now. People are asking for accountability. Mayor Nestor Archival has mentioned emergency meetings and a focus on safety protocols, but for the families waiting at the site, I think that feels like too little, too late.
Totally. The human cost of our consumption habits is often invisible until a moment like this. Search and rescue operations are ongoing, but as the hours pass, the weight of that debris makes the mission increasingly difficult. It's a stark reminder of the vulnerability of those working on the front lines of sanitation.
Absolutely. And moving from a crisis of infrastructure to a crisis of public safety, we really have to talk about what is happening in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, this is another situation where the setting of the event is almost as jarring as the event itself. Federal immigration officers opened fire outside a hospital.
Right. Reports indicate that ICE officers shot 2 people right outside a medical facility. And in the digital space, the reaction was almost instantaneous. There is a lot of fear and anger about law enforcement choosing a hospital zone for an escalation of force.
Hospitals are traditionally viewed as sanctuaries. They are spaces designed for healing and refuge. When you introduce gunfire into that environment, you disrupt the fundamental sense of safety that a community relies on. It creates this profound aesthetic and social discord.
Exactly, Elise. And while the details of what led to the shooting are still being investigated, the optics are devastating. We are seeing a real-time debate about the boundaries of federal enforcement and whether any space is truly off-limits when it comes to immigration tactics.
It really raises questions about the protocol for these operations. Even if the intent is law enforcement, the execution in such a sensitive public space will undoubtedly lead to long-term scrutiny of their methods.
Definitely. The local community in Portland is already mobilizing. We're seeing a lot of calls for transparency. People want to know why this happened in a place where people go to get better, not to be caught in a crossfire.
It seems that whether it's the literal collapse of a landfill or the metaphorical collapse of safety in a hospital zone, the theme today is really the fragility of the structures we take for granted.
It really is. These stories serve as a wake-up call to look closer at the systems around us and the people they are supposed to protect.
Thank you for joining us as we navigate these complex developments. I'm Elise Moreau.
And I'm Lila Grant. We'll keep tracking these stories as they unfold. You've been listening to Neural Newscast. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.